Hi, my name is Kartik Srinivasan. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Cornelis, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Monica. Monica, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Monica Livingston, and I'm the America's AI Platform Lead at RedHat.
Thanks, Monica. I'm sure all of our listeners are very familiar with RedHat, but could you take a couple of minutes just introducing what the AI Platforms team's charter is and what your team does?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, I think many of our viewers, our listeners are aware of Linux and are aware of our OpenShift platform, our container platform on top of Linux. Our AI platform, OpenShift AI, sits on top of OpenShift. So essentially, it takes advantage of all the container benefits of OpenShift, but we offer a full end-to-end MLOps platform. And so we start with tools for building and fine-tuning models. We have many customers that build, but then also bring models in that are built somewhere else. So we have that flexibility of allowing customers to bring models that they've built somewhere else in order to deploy them. And so we offer tools for monitoring, for security, LLM guardrails, and then, of course, different types of model serving. The one that we're most excited about is VLLM with our RedHat AI inference server. That allows us to deploy multiple types of LLMs at scale, and of course, reducing infrastructure cost and keeping performance. Really, you can improve performance as well. It all depends on what you want to optimize for.
Very nice. Sounds like the flexibility and the openness that RedHat always stands for shows and reflects in this charter as well.
That's right.
And the performance, of course, is key. What are some of, from your vantage point, some of the key bottlenecks that you see in the AI infrastructure today?
Yeah, and so I'll start by saying that we see a lot of bottlenecks in the organization and in decision-making around AI. But when we get to the infrastructure, that all ties in because it's all about who owns the infrastructure, who pays for it, and who charges for it. Of course, the very prevalent use cases in AI that we know about is the lack of availability for compute and the expense of compute. And that comes into play, especially when models are and workloads as a whole are not optimized, which means that you're essentially throwing a lot of hardware at the problem.
Yeah, so the game is all about efficiency, and we see that as well. From the Cornelis vantage point, we see the thing that we're maniacally working on right now is ensuring that the GPU efficiency for AI is at the highest level possible. And we also find that the network inefficiencies of today is causing and crippling the efficiencies of the GPUs, which is what we are focused on fixing. As part of the next generation AI enterprise requirements, how do you see the organizations evolve for a couple of dimensions, right? One is scale, and the second one is hybrid computing, which is kind of the combinations of GPUs and CPUs in the system.
Yeah, and so the world is hybrid. The world is going to stay hybrid. And so hybrid both from a CPU, GPU perspective, but also cloud and on-prem. And I think when we look at the types of infrastructure that needs to be supported, it has to be modular. It has to be diverse. Workloads have to run at the edge. They have to run in the data center. They have to run in the cloud. And in many cases, they have to be dynamically orchestrated. And so when you're looking at data, moving data back and forth, very expensive. So we need to figure out how to compute closer to that data. And then obviously, we're going to have a lot of data movement, right? So we need to figure out, well, how do we move that data efficiently? We still need the same things that we've always needed in compute, right? So high bandwidth, low latency, performance. But AI also introduces security issues. And so when you're looking at your networks, how do you prevent that? AI also opens up the door for much more sophisticated attacks. And so at a platform level, we have guardrails in place and tools in place to look out for those. But when data is moving, it's really important that the network is secure as well. And then you can also look at dynamic balancing, and we always plan for the peaks, but that's really hard to do when the peaks are really massive. So how do you deal with that in the work you're doing with Cornelis?
Yeah, so for us, we are built for scale and for performance. The entire architecture that we built from the ground up was built on the fundamentals of highly distributed compute for AI. So our networking equipment today, our 400 gig solution called the CN5000, can actually scale up to 500,000 endpoints, and without compromising on performance. So we get the metrics of, like you said, the performance is still paramount. Our message rate, our latency, our bandwidth is all at the exact same level that the AI workloads demand. But at the same time, our value-added features also take care of other functionality to ensure that we are congestion-free, we are lossless, we are at the highest level of security that we cannot compromise on in this complex, and like you said, the sophisticated AI world that we live in. We want to make sure that the feature set and the performance and the security remain uncompromised. How do you see the hardware world and the software world interacting towards this common cause of making sure that we deliver to the requirements of AI?
Yeah, and that's an interesting question because I think much closer collaboration is needed. And only because the technology is so new and it's evolving so much. I hear all the time that there isn't a single individual that knows everything that's happening in AI. And so I think it's a lot to ask of infrastructure builders to really keep up very closely with the AI world and kind of learn on their own. So the software and the hardware teams need to work very closely together in order to make sure that they're optimizing. And it's an interesting challenge because there doesn't seem to be a single solution. It's not like, hey, we're going to sit in this room and we're going to find the one thing that works. It's an ecosystem. The solution is the ecosystem. The solution is being able to have something that's as modular as possible so that when new things come onto the market, new technologies, right? We're talking agents right now. We're going to talk reasoning and knowledge systems later. Who knows what's coming next year, right? I think a lot of us could try to bet on it, but we don't really know at the end of the day. So you have to have infrastructure that can scale out and expand. And so from a Red Hat perspective, our philosophy has always been open source, right? We didn't just wake up this morning and find open source. A lot of the innovation is happening in open source. And so for us to be able to take that very quickly and harden it for enterprise, essentially make it enterprise usable, is really important. And similar to what you're doing with open standards and being able to essentially leverage the standards that are out there that people are used to and congregating again around, so that you're not locking anybody in. Because anytime you have lock-in in this space, because it's evolving so quickly, chances are you're going to have to rip something up later.
Yeah, so the guiding principles that you spoke of in terms of openness and flexibility, obviously that's what Red Hat has always stood for, and that's the guiding principles for Cornelis as well. The drivers that we do, the operating system that we have for our switches, they're all based on open source frameworks. Again, you use the term vendor lock, and that's exactly the kind of situation and ecosystem that we live in today, and which is what Cornelis is trying to break. We're trying to free up the network. We're trying to make sure that our customers have the flexibility and choice to choose the highest performing network and highest performing solution that there is. Monica, what is some of the advice that you will have for next generation organizations that are looking to build their AI infrastructure today?
Yeah, and I think it's definitely don't do it in a silo. AI is a technology that does span lines of business. So bring people in, look at what's available, and be as modular and open as possible. Again, and I know I'm repeating, but open source, open standards, modularization, being able to very quickly adjust and building that agility in and being comfortable with adjusting. And I think one thing that is really important that I don't think we do enough of because the technology moves so fast, but optimizing the workloads. Right now in AI, there's a lot of, well, this works, we're going to just push it out to production, and we've not optimized it. And then what essentially happens is you're using too much hardware, you're using too much compute, and your return on investment isn't there. And that becomes really tough. And so when you're building infrastructure, understanding how you can monitor, build back, and then work on those optimizations, and many times those optimizations will be very specific to your infrastructure as well. And so talking to our customers about how they can optimize AI is kind of a soapbox for me. I think it's really important.
I cannot agree more. And the problems that we are trying to solve are huge, real problems. They're universal problems. They're in the fields of healthcare. They're in the fields of finance, in the fields of oil and gas. And we're trying to solve problems at a global scale. And I think one of the points that you made resonates very well with us as well, which is we have to work closely as partners so that the end user kind of flexibility and performance are met, and they're not being dealt a raw hand, so to speak. Where can we go to find more information about your charter here?
Well, the RedHat website, RedHat AI, lots of information up there. We put out guidebooks, ebooks, and then of course a lot of what we do, most of what we do is in open source, and so a lot of community activity around that technology as well. But yeah, the RedHat website and our YouTube channel is the best place to look.
That is fantastic. And just for us, cornelisnetworks.com is a great place to get any source of information. There's white papers, solution briefs, and also the work that we're doing with partners like RedHat is available on our website as well. And so in the world of AI, our slogan is the network that AI has been waiting for. That's Cornelis. Thank you.